In this video, I want to talk about how I became self-employed and basically what I've learned through 8 years of being self-employed, the lessons I've learned along the way, what I wish I knew earlier, and hopefully some inspiration and motivation to anyone watching who is looking to become self-employed. Most of my life, I've wanted to be self-employed. From the age of 18, I always wanted to be my own boss, to have my own business. I always wanted to support myself, to create my own income, to create my own business. I basically wanted that since the age of, say, 18 years old. But basically, I didn't do anything with this dream for many, many years. So it wasn't actually until I was 25 when I finally quit my job and finally became self-employed. Between the ages of, say, 18 and 25, I made zero progress on this. And the reason why is because I didn't really know anyone who was self-employed. I didn't really know, how to jump into it. I didn't really know what business I should start, how I should actually get started in it. And basically, I was scared. I was scared to become self-employed. I didn't know if I would fail. I didn't know how I'd generate the income. So when I eventually did become self-employed, I was aged around about 25. The reason why I finally became self-employed at that point was basically I reached a tipping point where I could not stand having a boss anymore. And basically, I would have rather be homeless on the street and still have my freedom than to remain full-time employed with a boss. That's kind of the point that I got to, where basically I couldn't stand it anymore. The thought of having no income, the thought of being homeless even, was better than the thought of staying at my job, of remaining full-time employed. Once I got to that point, it was very easy to quit my job. And I actually didn't have any income at that time. I had a little bit of side hustles going on, but the side hustle income I was making was nowhere near enough to pay my bills. And actually, I had a lot of debt as well. I had around about $50,000 in personal loan debt. So when I quit my job at the age of 25 to become self-employed, basically it was a huge risk because I had almost no income coming in from my side hustles and I had a lot of debt. I had debt repayments to pay as well. So actually each month I was going more and more backwards, but still I did it. Still I quit my job and became self-employed because basically I reached a point where I had to do that. There was no longer a choice. I had to go all in on my business. I had to go all in on trusting myself to create my own income. I had to go all in on that. And that's what I did at the age of 25. This is around about 8 years ago that I did this. So like I said, at that time, I had a lot of debt and my side hustles were only making a small amount each week, not even enough to cover my basic living expenses. But I knew if I really went all in, if I really put all of my focus into business, then I could grow those side hustles, make enough to cover my living expenses and slowly pay off my debt. And this is exactly what happened. Now, it was a bit of a bumpy road. I didn't magically just quadruple my business or anything in the first week. It actually took a lot of time. By basically putting myself all into my business, by unlocking all of my mental energy, all of my physical energy, and being able to put it all into myself, I was able to grow my business. I was able to pay off my debt. And basically, I was able to give myself a lot of freedom to pursue other things. So in the first couple of years after I finally quit my job and really went all in on being self-employed, in that first couple of years, I read hundreds of books. All of a sudden, I had time to read a lot of books and absorb a lot of knowledge. So I read 200 books in the space of a couple of years, right after I became self-employed. And I actually found multiple other little kind of side hustle businesses that I could do to add on to the existing side hustle businesses I was doing. And when combined, they made more than enough income to cover all my expenses, to pay off my debt and actually provide a decent lifestyle. And from that point, I was actually able to make enough money to survive, to pay all my bills, to live comfortably, and only actually work maybe 10 to 15 hours per week. That was my preference. That's how much I preferred to work, was only 10 to 15 hours per week. And that's what I was able to achieve through my side hustle businesses. And I maintained that for 8 years now. So for 8 years, I haven't had a job. I haven't needed a job. And in that 8 years, I've only worked maybe 10 to 15 hours per week. The reason why I'm able to do this is because I freed up my time. I basically gave myself all of my mental energy and all of my physical energy. Instead of giving some of it to a boss, to a job, to an employer, I gave it all to myself. And when you give yourself all of your mental and physical energy, you'll be really surprised at what you can achieve once you really go all in on yourself. So if anyone out there is thinking about becoming self-employed, I hope you find motivation in my story, and I hope you realize that basically you just need to do it. It just opens up so many doors to you. It opens up your creative mind. It opens up your mental energy, your physical energy, that you will find a solution. You will find businesses. You'll find ways to grow your existing businesses. You'll find ways to make money. You don't need to basically worry about how you're going to make money when you become self-employed. You will figure it out. This is what I learned. And for many years, I was worried about doing it as well. From the age of 18 to 25, I wanted to become self-employed, but I didn't. I just stuck with my normal boring job and I kept putting it off, and I wish I had done it sooner. When I finally did it, I realized how easy it is. It's actually a lot easier than making money through a job, because once you actually kind of put your back to the wall and you have no other option, when you have no no other choice but to succeed in business and to make money through your business, through your side hustles. When you put yourself in that position, you will just make it work. You will find ways to make it work. So I actually think if you want to become self-employed, the best way to do it is to just quit your job straight away and just dive into it. Even if you haven't got any businesses, any side hustles at the moment, if you have no income coming in, that doesn't matter. Quit your job, just start focusing on it 100% and you'll find the solution. It's actually a lot easier to find the solution that way when you have all of your time, all of your mental and physical energy to put into it. When you have that, that's when you can achieve it. When you are full-time employed, that's when you can't achieve it, because that's when most of your mental and physical energy is gone and there's not much left to put into the things you actually want to achieve. So basically, quitting my job at the age of 25, 8 years ago, when I had a lot of debt and not much income from my side hustles, that was the best thing I ever did. This freed up my time, my mental and physical energy to really grow my businesses and to find new opportunities that I never would have seen before. By freeing up my time like this, it allowed me to identify ways to increase my intelligence. I actually found multiple ways to increase my intelligence. If you've watched my videos before, you'll know I've gained at least 13 IQ points already. And if I hadn't freed up my time, if I wasn't self-employed, only working 10 to 15 hours per week, if I wasn't doing that, I wouldn't have had the time to find these ways to increase my intelligence. And I wouldn't have had time to put in the hours into the training to grow my intelligence. And if I hadn't have done that, then I also wouldn't have identified opportunities in the crypto market, which is where I've made most of my money over these last few years. So basically, you can see how one thing leads to the other. By becoming self-employed, it frees up my time and I can find new opportunities. I found ways to increase my intelligence, and then by increasing my intelligence and also having the free time to really research the cryptocurrency market, I found ways to make a lot of money. And that's how I made most of my money over the last few years. But if I hadn't have quit my job 8 years ago, if I hadn't have become self-employed, none of those things would have happened, because I wouldn't have had the time to research into ways to increase my intelligence. I wouldn't have had the time to train my brain to increase my intelligence. I wouldn't have had time to research the cryptocurrency market to find opportunities. I wouldn't have had time to create my own metrics, my own indicators to really crush the crypto market. Now, it probably sounds a bit like I'm bragging here, and I don't want it to sound like I'm bragging. What I want it to sound like is, if you go all in on yourself, you will find solutions. You will find opportunities that you never knew existed before. And basically, your life will go on a far faster trajectory than you could have imagined before. Because if you give most of your mental and physical energy to a job, you don't have any left to really pursue the things you want to pursue. You don't have any left to pursue a business, to pursue a creative endeavor, to find ways to make money in cryptocurrency or stocks or trading. You don't have the mental and physical energy to do any of that if most of your energy is going into a full-time job. Try and focus on something unique to yourself, some creative skill that you can pursue, that you can grow, some unique business that you want to grow and start. I say focus on that. Focus on building your own source of income. Rely on yourself. Don't rely on others. If you're interested in growing your intelligence, I recommend you go back and check out some of my other videos to find out how I've increased my intelligence by at least 13 IQ points already. And if you're interested in growing your wealth as well, that's another thing I'm going to be focusing on heavily with this channel. My two main goals are to increase my intelligence to the maximum human limit and to make $1 billion. Those are my two goals that go hand in hand. If you're interested in those topics, make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions at all, you can leave a comment down below and I'll get back to you.